Territorial Cup, and we want to beat down so bad, it's rated R.
Happy game day and welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils pregame show, of course, presented by Branded Bills. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use that code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order.
Of course, also brought to you by our friends over at Captain Morgan. And in case you didn't notice, we're not in Studio A today.
Wait, we're not?
We're on the Captain Morgan ship outside of Loco Patron right now tonight. $12 Captain Morgan frozen strawberry daiquiris, which, by the way, the fact that we don't have some right now is a shame, but we are here courtesy of Captain Morgan. This boat's going to be here today, folks, so if you're in the area, in Tempe, around game day, come by, check out the boat, get some Captain Morgan swag, and then go across the street, Loco Patron. Totri, we'll be doing a live post-game show from Loco Patron.
I'm juiced, I'm amped, I'm all the things. It is finally here, the Territorial Cup, number 20, Arizona State, taking on number 25, Arizona. Anthony Totri, Erik, Ruby, the deli man behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Rubus, I can't remember a time in 2025, honestly, where there has been this much hype around a game for Arizona State. We talk often about 2024. You can go to the Kansas State game, maybe the BYU game. But this season in 2025, you've obviously got a season for Arizona State that maybe hasn't lived up to expectations thus far, yet they still technically have a chance to go to the Big 12 championship. And then on the opposite end, you've got an Arizona Wildcats squad where the fan base was calling for the job of Brent Brennan after his first season. And here they are. They've turned in an 8-3 season. They have entered the CFP rankings for the first time in 2025.
Well, let's just call a spade a spade. Last year, the game, the only pressure was don't blow it being an enormous favorite and blow your chance of making it to the Big 12 championship. But there was no nerves. There was no thought in the back of anybody's head that U of A, the way that they were playing last year, could have even sniffed what Arizona State was doing, because Arizona State was playing their best football at the end of the season last year. Also calling a spade, what the Arizona Wildcats have done this year is objectively impressive.
Yeah,
now, we'll talk about how impressive it might be, and does that relate to being on the road in rival territory in a place where this team rarely ever loses, just once over the last 2 seasons. But yeah, this is a good Arizona team. This is the first time these teams are ranked in a little bit over a decade, playing each other in the Territorial Cup. Noah Fifita has been playing just as good as any other quarterback in the Big 12. They have some very clear, distinct strengths, but so does Arizona State now, with Jeff Sims starting, his 5th game for ASU this year. And I think the fact that you could sit here on this Friday, the final regular season game, and look at the injuries, look at all the complaints, all the problems, all the adversity that Arizona State has faced, and say they still have a shot. They're still playing to be in the Big 12 championship. You want to know who's not? Arizona. Arizona State is one of a few teams in this conference that still has a chance to go to Dallas and play, and this time try to go for back-to-back Big 12 championships. They'll need some help, but the only thing that really matters is today, Totri, win this game.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something that we spend a lot of time on. The fan base spends a lot of time on the idea that this Arizona State squad, despite the injuries, can still go to the Big 12 championship, but you hit the nail on the head. The only thing that matters right now is what's in front of this Arizona State squad, and it is a feisty, a fiery Arizona team that definitely has surpassed expectations to this point in 2025. If you're a Sun Devil fan and you don't know much about the Arizona Wildcats, where there are 2 things that the Sun Devils genuinely need to focus on from a personnel standpoint as it relates to the Arizona Wildcats. And Erik, I want to start on the offensive side of the ball for Arizona, and that is Noah Fifita. Noah Fifita has been one of the most talented, prolific quarterbacks in the Big 12 here in 2025. The other 2, both quarterbacks, Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover, suffered losses to this Arizona State defense if you're the Sun Devil defense going into this game, do you take anything away from those wins against Baylor, against TCU, and pull them into this game against Arizona because we're talking about an offense that does like to throw the football?
I think you have to. I mean, look, this defense in general has been really good amongst the best of the best in the Big 12. Now, look, it's Sawyer Robertson, Josh Hoover still were able to get theirs, but if you look at statistically their output in those games versus some of their other best games of the season, it was clearly down.
Yeah.
Right? And a part of that is Arizona State's defense in general is really good at focusing at a problem and fixing it. I think you look at some of the better passing performances against ASU this year, it has come from teams that do not have the strongest passing attack, and Arizona State is kind of making them beat them in a way that they're not prone to playing.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think Fafita is a step below those other two quarterbacks, and beyond him specifically, you look at what this offensive line for Arizona has done, or the lack of what they've been able to do as far as protecting Noah Fafita. There is a clear kryptonite to bring him down that does not revolve around him. He has singularly the amount of talent to win Arizona State this game, or win Arizona this game. Arizona State has some players that could do that too, but not like at the quarterback position. We've seen Sims do it, but Fafita has now proven it for multiple seasons.
And they do it in different ways. But
the thing is, if you can get to him and you can bring him down, like there's a clear path. And one thing we know about this defense is that there is a path for them to be successful. They usually travel down it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's copy and paste from Baylor, from TCU, but I do think that the success against those quarterbacks is more of an overall point to how well this defense has played, limiting both of those teams to under 30 points this season.
It really is amazing to me at this point in the season that the Arizona Wildcats, and specifically, again, Noah Fafita, have had the season that they've had to this point in the year, despite that Arizona offensive line allowing the second most sacks allowed in the Big 12. The only team that's allowed more sacks is the Colorado Buffaloes. And of course, we know how that went for Arizona State just a week ago, manhandling that Colorado squad. But not just Noah Fafita on the defensive side of the ball for the Arizona Wildcats. It's been the secondary. The secondary, a group full of veterans, has been one of, if not the best units against the pass in 2025 in the Big 12. And at times, especially with Jeff Sims at the helm, it has been a little bit of a stutter for this Arizona State offense to start games. And in all honesty, maybe it hasn't just been Jeff Sims, but even when Sam Leavitt was in there, this passing attack in general, the offense has struggled to just get out of its own way early on in football games. Say that knowing, though, when we go back to 2024, the Arizona State Sun Devils, they did play the top secondary in the conference. They did it against Iowa State in the Big 12 championship, and we know how that game went. Same question that I had in terms of, if you're this Arizona State defense, do you pull anything from the performance against Baylor, against TCU, because you played those really talented, prolific quarterbacks? Do you pull anything from experiences this season against high-flying secondaries going into this matchup, knowing what Arizona can do on the back end of that defense?
Well, I've got good news for you, Anthony Totri. Jordan Tyson's playing football.
You're right.
Today,
you're right. That's it, actually. That's all we need.
As much as you want to talk about, and we have talked about, it's been a theme this whole season, what do the other receivers do, right? What does a Derek Eusebio do, who's coming off of maybe his best game as a Sun Devil recently? What does Malik McLean do? Can he actually catch the ball?
That's your guy
today?
Man.
What does Jalen Moss do? Can he get more than one reception in a game? And maybe does Jaron Hamilton make an appearance for the first time in what feels like months at this point? But at the end of the day, this is not going to be a pass-based offense, whether they're facing a good secondary or not.
It better not be.
The strength of this football team all season, but especially the strength with Jeff Sims out there at quarterback and Raleek Brown coming off of one of the single best games a running back has had in Arizona State, which, considering the history of running backs at Arizona State, that's saying something. This is going to be a run-heavy offense, or at least it should be today, unless they figured out some piece of the puzzle. Well, when you're not running the ball, you're throwing it to Jordan Tyson probably 8 times out of 10, and then the other one is going to be to Shaman, and the other one is pick your wide receiver. That's not Jordan Tyson. So as long as you are able to get the ball within the vicinity of Jordan Tyson, they're going to be able to make plays. And the best part is that secondary is not going to be able to lose focus on the wideouts, simply because when Jordan Tyson's on the field, whether he's getting targeted or not, he is the most dangerous player that has stepped on there on the field. So I really do think that just having him out there is going to be very big for keeping that secondary kind of honest and distracted. But at the end of the day, Jeff Sims needs to find Jordan Tyson today.
Yeah.
That is a no excuses type of thing. And it's on Marcus Arroyo to kind of find a way to make that happen against a very talented secondary, possibly the best secondary that Arizona State has faced all year.
Yeah, 1,000%. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Still a lot to cover here on the PHNX Sun Devils pregame show. Of course, we got our final X factors of the regular season. We've got predictions, our SPAR keys to victory. But before we get to those SPAR keys to victory, we've talked a lot about what Arizona brings into this game. Let's maybe talk about the mystery box that the Arizona State Sun Devils are bringing into this game, and that is Cam Scadaboo as an honorary captain.
Is he going to play?
Back here at Arizona State. First time he's been to a game, obviously, at Mountain America Stadium here in the 2025 season. I know the fan base is going to love to see it. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there is going to be a real impact on this team, especially given the fact that this team has struggled to start games. You're telling me Cam Scadaboo is going to be back in that locker room. Cam Scadaboo potentially giving a speech to these guys. Cam being an honorary captain. You know what this guy did for this program. You got to feel like there's going to be some sort of extra juice with Quattro being back for Arizona State.
Well, here's the thing. There's going to be extra juice because it's your rivalry game.
Yeah.
Right. And I went back and I watched the video that Arizona State put out after they beat U of A last year. And of course, that includes the halftime speech of Kenny Dillingham. Yeah. And he's very frank in saying, like, we haven't finished the game all effing season. Yeah. Right. Like, we haven't done this yet. And I think there's going to be an emphasis on, hey, you seniors out here today, which there are plenty of them. A lot of them. All of you that are playing for those seniors. This is your last chance in this stadium to start off hot. Yeah. And your last chance to beat this team. You want to go out there and go 3-and-out at home? You want to go out there and struggle with Noah Fafita and Arizona Wildcats scripted plays? No. You want to go out there, you want to get a stop, you want to score some points, and you want to get the sold-out crowd. Another sold-out game. Every single home game sold out, but none more important than this one, fired up. I think Cam is just going to add a little bit extra juice on top of that because that's just the type of guy that he is. Yeah. Right? Him just being there, let alone giving a speech, let alone being an honorary captain. Guys who were on the team last year, which, as we know, there are a higher percentage of guys returning than most college football teams. They're going to see that, and they're going to remember everything that had gone through beforehand. And they are just going to get fired up. Plus, I'm sure Cam wants him to win this game.
1,000%.
To win this game. And I think the senior day aspect of it as well, like Arizona's going to be juiced up. Yeah. Right? So you got to be more juiced and ready to prepare against a team that is favored, by the way. In your house, the Arizona Wildcats are favored. You got to do something about that.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how the Sun Devils are going to get the job done again at Mountain America Stadium against the Arizona Wildcats. These are our SPAR keys to victory for the final regular season game of the 2025 season. We've talked a lot about bringing the juice, and that's why the first key to victory for me is setting the tone. Everything that you've done to this point in the season, that number next to your name means absolutely nothing. The only thing that matters is playing 60 minutes, 4 quarters of your most ferocious, mean, and clean football against your rival, Erik. If you have anything left as a player here, you got to leave it all on the field. It's a cliche in sports. This one, you actually got to do it.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of games so far this season where Arizona State has kind of come out a little bit lackluster. Yeah. And it's been frustrating, right? That Colorado game most recently, a little lackluster. That's frustrating. West Virginia, frustrating. TCU, you're down 17-0 at halftime. Colorado. That's frustrating. That's what I say. Yeah, last week, Colorado. But the thing is, we've also seen them get up. Yeah. Iowa State, Texas Tech. This game is on that same stratosphere as those games, right? The only good team that this team has not gotten up for was on the road against Utah and Jeff Sims' first start, right? So I do think that because we have seen them step up in situations like this, and not only are the Wildcats the Arizona Wildcats, but they're a damn good football team. Yeah. And you got to call a spade, and I'm sure everybody in that locker room knows that this is a dangerous team and that there is a chance that they walk in there and they take care of business on your home turf. You don't want that to happen. You felt how good that was last year when you did it to them. Well, they're going to try to do it again to you today. Go out there, set the tone, get them uncomfortable, get Noah Fafita uncomfortable, get that secondary uncomfortable, make them figure out a way to stop you, not the other way around. It's a key to the game.
Beat that ass. That's what I got to say. Look,
smack the A, as one might say.
Our second key to victory is don't stop running. Now, you could look at this one of two ways. I'm going to look at it both ways. Raleek Brown needs to get a fair share of the offensive workload today. But when Jeff Sims has the ball in his hand, this man needs to have some help in terms of QB-designed runs from Marcus Arroyo. It's something that was absent against Colorado. I think that's partially why this offense struggled to get out of its own way early in that Colorado game. We know how it went in the fourth quarter. But, Erik, that's what was so successful for this Arizona State offense. Jeff Sims specifically against that Iowa State team in Ames, is we know Jeff Sims is a problem to deal with on the ground. We know that this run game is one of the best in the Big 12 all the way around. Whatever you do, I know you got some talent on the perimeter in Jordan Tyson. You got a trusty, old, reliable tight end in Shimon Mateer. At the end of the day, though, it starts and finishes with what this team does on the ground.
Well, right, and that's because that's been their biggest strengths. They're a top 3 rushing team in the Big 12, and Arizona's rushing defense is not their strength. It's not their strong suit. So when you look at a way to take advantage of one of the weaknesses of this Arizona team, it is their defensive line. Find a way to get it, and also with Sims specifically. You're right, it was frustrating against Colorado because there wasn't those designed run plays for him. I also think there's something to be said about when he gets going and when he plays with confidence, that's when he's at his best. I know we feel that way with a lot of QBs, but with Sims, when the lows are so low, you need to get him in a groove. And I don't think you get him in a groove by scheming up plays to Jordan Tyson off rip or Shimon or Malik or Jalen or Eusebio. I think those all need to come secondary. Get Sims moving. Let him feel like he has an impact on this game, and then he can kind of feel confident, settle in, not second guess as much. And look, Raleek, we were waiting for a game like that from Raleek kind of all year. He was close the first couple of weeks, then he was solid. That was incredible. If he can do that again today, that's a game changer for Arizona State.
Set the tone. Don't stop running. And our final spar key to victory is take chances. It's something that Kenny Dillingham has been known for since he's been at Arizona State as the head coach. He's done it the last 2 weeks. We've seen a 2-point conversion. We've seen a fake punt. I'm not necessarily saying you got to do it all on special teams, but this is your last regular season game with this group. This one goes out to the coaching staff. You have to take chances when they are available. There is no more, there's no reason to be conservative in this game.
Sure. You know, it's interesting because I think you want the chances taken until the chances result in mistakes. Yeah. Right? I think you think back to
that. If it works, you're a genius. If it doesn't, you're an idiot.
Right. You think back to that Iowa State game, and one of Jeff Sims' turnovers was a pass when it was almost halftime, where you should have just kind of taken the field goal. Instead, they try to throw a bomb downfield and get themselves in a better scoring position. They end up turning the ball over, and then they go into half. And so you want them to take chances, but I think the emphasis on what you said is smart chances and understanding that those chances might not work out. So what's your backup plan, right? You're going to fake a punt. Well, you better feel pretty damn confident your defense is going to be able to stop one of the highest scoring offenses in the Big 12. And maybe they do, right? So find the right time to take those chances. I think this coaching staff has been very good at that and very good at it in high leverage situations. You think back to the Big 12 championship. You think back to, of course, Texas last year. There were some pretty ballsy plays called in those games. They ended up working out. Part of that's personnel. Part of that's reading the moment. So big game for Marcus Arroyo. Big game for Brian Ward. I think defensively, you don't understand as much that those guys take chances as well. We saw it on the backside of that in a non-con play against Mississippi State, trying to do an all-out blitz at the end there. Get tripped up. That's a touchdown when that's a risk that could have ended up paying off. So it's on all sides of the ball that they're going to have a singular moment. There might be a one crucial play that a risk is taken, and whether it succeeds or whether it doesn't determines the outcome of this game. That is how close I think the game today is going to be.
Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button again, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Again, the Captain Morgan ship is going to be right here on Mill in front of Loco Patron.
Get your strawberry daiquiris.
Make sure you come out to Mill. Come check out the Captain Morgan ship. Also, check out the PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. Going to be live from Loco Patron about 30 minutes following the final whistle of the 2025 Territorial Cup. So make sure you guys are in attendance for that one. Erik, we know it is setting up to be one hell of a ball game. Again, number 20 Arizona State taking on number 25 Arizona. We've gone through keys from a team perspective, how the Sun Devils get the job done. But if we're looking specifically at one individual, who is your X factor tonight?
It's a hard one. I think there are a lot of guys that come to mind, and whenever I'm picking an X factor, I got to kind of balance the Ruby curse, right? Like making sure that I don't screw things up. But I think I picked a pretty inflappable one.
Okay.
Give me former Arizona Wildcat Jacob Rich Kingaika. We saw last year him make a big impact against his former team. And
during the game and after.
During the game and after the game. And I think in a night like tonight against your former team, when their weakness is letting their quarterback get sacked, I would not be surprised if we see a 1, possibly 2 sack game from Jacob Kingaika. And I think he's the type of guy where you talk about energy builders, guys that are going to go out there and not let that slow start be slow. He is that type of energy guy. I think he is a true X factor on this defensive line. He will not be the most highly scouted name on this D line, but I think he's one that could take advantage of all the attention a guy like CJ Fight is going to get, a guy like Clayton Smith is going to get. Give me Jacob Kingaika to have a very impactful game against his former team, but this time in Tempe.
I love it. Look, my X factor is on the offensive side of the football. And for me, I mean, his final regular season game here at Mountain America Stadium, give me Jordan Tyson.
Not a bad pick.
It has been amazing to this point to watch what he's done as an Arizona State wide receiver. He's going to do amazing things in the NFL. But for me, this is somebody who is going to be a top 5, top 10 pick in the 2026 NFL draft, likely the first wide receiver off the board. Mountain America Stadium is going to be rocking about 45,000 strong tonight. And I'll tell you what, Jordan Tyson is the most athletic person in that stadium tonight. He needs to be on full display. I know that I said earlier that I want this team to run the football. It's going to be a major key to victory for the Arizona State Sun Devils. But don't get it twisted. Jordan Tyson is the heartbeat for this Arizona State offense. This guy needs to have at a minimum 10 to 12 targets. And if that's not working, find a way to get him involved in the ground game as well. He is that athletic. And I think for me, it doesn't matter if you're up against the number 1 secondary in the Big 12 or the number 1 secondary in the country. Jordan Tyson needs to be a focal point of this Arizona State offense.
100%. You can't just run the ball.
No.
Right? It's got to be your kind of bread and butter, but bread and butter doesn't make the whole meal. You need something else to go with it. Jordan Tyson is going to make a big play today. Jordan Tyson, by all means, he's not on a snap count today, right? He's fully healthy. He's fully out there. He made an impact against Colorado, playing about 30 snaps. Maybe we see Keith Abney out there running some of his routes tonight, but
barbecue chicken.
I do think that every single moment that he's on the field, he is the most feared man on the field. You say most athletic in the stadium, you're in the stadium, so I'm not sure if I fully agree with that.
Right. Second most
so
athletic.
Is the deli man, so maybe Jordan Tyson comes in at like a strong 3. Strong 3. But again, as far as playing the game, certainly number 1. So I think he's definitely not just an X factor, he might be the factor in the game today. By the way, one little stat about Jacob Kingaika, he's played in 3 Territorial Cups, 2 for U of A, 1 for ASU leading into today. He has not lost a Territorial Cup. So let's continue that today. We've got that guy on our side. We saw how important it was last year, so let's keep that streak going. Let's make it 4 in a row, Mr. Kingaika.
Look, before we get into our predictions, quickly want to hit on what I think is going to be maybe the biggest difference maker in this game, and it's the guys that are wearing the headsets for each side, Kenny Dillingham and Brent Brennan. I know, again, we talk about what happened in 2024 with these two squads and how this year has kind of gone off the rails for both Arizona State and then maybe on the rails for Arizona. But I think we are all kind of in agreement here that it doesn't matter what the 2 records are of these 2 teams to this point in the season. The Arizona State coaching staff led by Kenny Dillingham could certainly be the reason why this Arizona State team has an advantage over Arizona.
Without a doubt. I think if you have listened to Arizona fans over the season, well, a lot of them are thrilled at the overall macro scale of what's been going on in Tucson. They have not been happy with a lot of Brent Brennan's actual game management, in-game decisions, and especially when it comes down to crunch time, right? The BYU game, the Houston game, those are games where they look at the coaching side of things and wonder, why did Arizona not win this game? There's a chance that Arizona could be playing for a Big 12 championship spot right now if Brent Brennan wasn't the guy leading the way. Now, that being said, all credit to him. 8 wins so far this season has been a very impressive season for him, but, you know, it's like the opposite of Kenny, right? Kenny finds himself in close games and he wins.
Yeah.
Brennan finds himself in close games and he loses. And by all means, these are two talented football teams, and you'll see from my score prediction, I think it's a close game. So I think that should also tell you what I think is going to happen today.
Yeah, well, with all that said, let's go ahead and get to our score predictions for the 2025 Territorial Cup. Erik, what do you got here, man?
Give me a 4-point victory for Arizona State at home, 24-20. I'm thinking a 21-20 lead in the fourth quarter for ASU. They ice it with a field goal at the end. Defense goes out there, gets a stop, and give me another game-sealing pick from Keith Abney to put it away as Arizona tries to battle their way to get a touchdown since a field goal won't win it for them. Give me a nice, close 24-20 victory for Arizona State.
Calling your shot. Look, there's a lot of similarities between Arizona State and Arizona in this matchup, and the same as there was when Arizona State played Baylor and when Arizona State played TCU, and those final scores were the same, 27-24, 27-24 against two of the top quarterbacks in the conference. So why not make it a hat trick against the third best quarterback in this conference in terms of the score? I got 27-24. I'm holding strong on my shot call. I said just the other day that I think Arizona and Arizona State are going to be knotted 24 apiece. Under 2 minutes to play. Arizona's driving. Fafita turns it over. You get a 40-plus yard field goal as time expires from Jesus Gomez. The Sun Devils find a way to get that dub. 9-3, and then, of course, all eyes will be on BYU and UCF on Saturday. Again, assuming Arizona State beats Arizona in the Territorial Cup here in roughly 10 minutes or so. Again, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We will be over at Local Patron for a PHNX Sun Devils live post-game show on Mill, so make sure you guys show up, show out, and show your Sun Devil pride. If you enjoyed this pregame show and all this stuff and want to keep up with more Arizona State news and notes, make sure you follow the show at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow Chicken Little here.
No, not Chicken Little today.
You can follow
Rubis
at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the Deli Man at Shane Dief. Ahoy! As always, guys, and we will see you for PHNX Sun Devils post-game show. In the meantime, go Devils in peace.
We all silly like the mayor.